All right. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30. It is now time to start the July 28, 2026 regular City Council meeting. If you can all please stand with me as we get ready to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, if you all can remain standing. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Chaplain David is here with the Bastrop Police Department. He's going to do our invocation.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this time to get together. You said that where two or three are gathered together in your name, that you would be there in their midst. Tonight, Lord, we come together in your name. We ask for your wisdom to be here tonight, that you would lead our leaders' hearts. For those who have questions, comments, and concerns tonight, Father, I ask that you would lead them in peace, for you are the Prince of Peace. And I ask that your peace would cover this meeting tonight. We thank you so very much for everything that you're doing here in our community, the exponential growth, the economy that is coming in. We give you thanksgiving and glory for everything that you are doing in this place. And we ask that in everything that we do, that we would bring honor to your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain David. All right. Got us a full house this evening. It's good to see all of you here. I'm sure I know what most of y'all are here for, so. If I could take a wild guess, I bet I'd get it right. So, before we get moving, we'll go ahead and go through the mayor's report. All right. So, I'll do my report, and then I'll go through with council, and they'll do their report as well. Let's see here. As y'all know, a couple weeks back, we had the Corvette invasion. Did any of y'all get to attend that? And so they had 375 registered Corvettes here, had over 500 Corvettes here in town for the weekend. It was a real good show that was put on. Let's see. Council and myself, we all got to enjoy the Friday night activities. They had a 8-foot robot, or it was really a person on stilts with a lot of lights, but it looked like a robot. It's pretty cool, and had a pretty cool light show. And then Saturday, all the cars rolled in, and we, as we do every year, are fortunate enough to be able to pick our favorite Corvette. And so my Corvette that I picked was a 67 Stingray. It was black with a red hood, a red stripe on the hood, had side pipes going down, had a nice glass window in the back, and it stood out to me from the jump. I walked outside, it was one of the first 5 cars that I saw, and I was like, yeah, the rest of y'all don't stand a chance. It was like love at first sight. And so I looked at all the other ones, but they just didn't do it for me. So I really appreciate Sean Jones and his team with Corvette Invasion for having such a successful year. I'm sure you'll hear a little bit more about it from the rest of council. Later on that weekend, I did get to go and celebrate with a lifelong Bastrop resident. Just this past week on the 23rd, Miss Ora B. Moore turned 95 years old. So that Sunday, I got to spend time with her and her family to celebrate her birthday, and she still gets around really well, and so I appreciate that invitation to that. Let's see, what else did I have? I got to sit down and eat with some of the seniors from the Silver Pines nursing home or rehab center last week and have lunch at Texas Grill. So it was an honor to get to meet with those people. Some of them were veterans, some of them just lifelong residents here in Bastrop, but doesn't matter how old you are, you still have a love and concern and a fire for the community. So it's real appreciative to be able to sit down and visit with them. This past weekend, really on Saturday, I had a pretty full slate, but I enjoyed the heck out of it. Woke up and participated in a community bike ride. They try to do one of those, Bastrop Parks and Rec tries to do one of those once a quarter. And so if you ever get the chance, they're usually about 3-mile rides somewhere around town. But it's good to meet the neighbors, to get out and just get a little bit of exercise. They have it in the morning time. Usually they have a treat at the end of it, so you can work out the calories but gain them back, if you will. Same thing with the community walk and talk. That also happened, and so doing the same thing, walk a couple of miles, eat a snack afterwards, and get those calories back. Then I briefly spent some time at the Christmas in July lemonade stroll downtown, and it was good. I got to take a picture with Santa, try a few of the lemonades, and it's always, for the second year, it was a real good showing for everyone. And the last thing I got to do was really enjoyable on Saturday night. I attended, I don't know if y'all recall, a couple weeks ago, Jack of Hearts came in and talked about their organization, their scholarship program that they do, so I was able to go to their scholarship banquet. They gave out 20 scholarships for $1,000 apiece, and they're really out here to help kids who may not feel they can go to college, but want to get into a trade. And coincidentally, it was 3 kids that walked away with job offers that night, just because their stories resonated with some of the people, the business owners or whatnot. So it was real big for these kids to be able to know that they're going into a career, but have a job opportunity as soon as they get out of school, making $25, $30 an hour at 18 years old. So thank you, Jack of Hearts, and that was my recap. We'll move to Councilmember Lowe.
Thank you. Everybody having a good evening out there? So far, nervous? I'm just kidding. I had the privilege of attending my daughter's graduation through the CNA program for career tracks. Really proud of her hard work, and it's a reminder, a great reminder of how important workforce development is in our community. So, and also, it's her 24th birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Maya. I was honored to open up Corvette Invasion and sung the national anthem. My wife and I had a great time. We spending with folks from the organization and then welcoming the visitors to town. So that was really cool, and it was really a good affair, and I think everybody will speak more on it as well. I attended the regular Bastrop County African American Cultural Center board meeting to get updates on their ongoing initiatives and local outreach, so that was interesting to get invited to that and know what's going on there. Also, too, I met with Discover Bastrop and the Cultural Arts team to talk about the future vision and reorganization of the Bastrop Music Festival. So that is underway. I know people have been pulling me to the side and said, hey, are we going to, get the Bastrop Music Festival back again? Yes, we will. And so we're working toward that, just getting it done logistically, and then we're just going to see how we can get organizers to handle that, as it were. I sat down with our Parks and Rec department today and engineering team to review site plans and map out the next step for the Veterans Park. So there are some interesting things going on with that. So stay tuned and we'll give you more details on that, but that's pretty interesting if all things work out. Yeah, it's homecoming weekend, so I hope everyone gets out, stays safe, and enjoys the great events. So just be careful out there, and it starts tonight, right? Okay, so we're trying to get through this so we can get out there. No, I'm just kidding. No, lastly, a quick call to action for our residents. The applications are officially open for the boards and commissions, so take that seriously, look into it at the boards and commissions page. I will send out a infographic on that later on today, and I'm sure there's some information's out there available already to where you have quick links, and then you can look at the boards and commissions and you can make your choice. And we know we'll see you sign up for these boards and commissions, so seeing some of these faces out here, we're looking forward to seeing in the future for some of those boards and commissions. So Again, local government works when you're involved, so we need your voice. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. And yes, it does start tonight with the Bastrop County team roping. And so it's a bunch of the local boys in the team roping competition, if y'all get the chance to check it out after the meeting tonight. Promise you they'll be there when we're done. All right, Councilmember Meyer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Lowe brought up the Corvette invasion, and our mayor did too. And I just wanted to tell you that my choice award went to Cesar Macedo, and he's from Bastrop, and he had a 2011 Grand Sport Corvette. But one of the coolest things, and he got a lot of extra points for this, he had a model of the convention center with Corvettes in the parking lot in the back of his car, in the trunk part. So he totally did an amazing job on that model, so Caesar got some extra points for me, so he won my award. That being said, moving on to today, I want to wish Curtis, our friend Curtis, who's a representative and a great ambassador to know more about Williams syndrome. Curtis was here a few months ago with us, and Williams syndrome is a genetic disorder, but one of the side effects of Williams syndrome is being overly happy. Now, isn't that something? So I think, we all need to have a little Curtis in us, for sure. But today, Curtis turns 11 years old. And Curtis was in the hospital a couple of months ago. It was very serious. He was bitten on the face by a dog. And he was in the hospital for quite a while, but he got out, and he's celebrating his 11th birthday today. So happy birthday, Curtis.
That's right.
I also want to point out, as Councilmember Lowe wants me to remind everybody, on August the 8th, from 9:30 in the morning till noon, it's the Apple Affair celebrating our teachers. And that is, Councilmember Lowe, why don't you go ahead and pick this up? Because that was your report, and I don't want to talk for you. So.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I went over that, and I looked at and stumbling over my words. So, yes, the Apple Affair, and it's going to be donated towards the teachers. And they know they have to get equipment and classroom supplies, so this goes towards that. It's called the Apple Affair. It's going to be at the Kerr Center from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that is on August 8th. So get out there and help those teachers, because I know that as a teacher, it's tough. And if you are a teacher, you know what it is. So that's what that's all about.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. And last but certainly not least, it's that time of year. And if you don't know what I'm so excited about, it's the Bastrop Homecoming and Rodeo. And it starts tonight at 7:30. So once you get out of here going up the hill, that's what we call Mayfest up there, the park. If you don't know, in the old school way, it's called Up the Hill. So that's Up the Hill. Also, just another little bit of info for you. Fisherman's Park is called the Boat Docks, okay? So now you know. But rodeo officially starts today. Tonight is team roping, as the mayor said. Tomorrow night is barrel racing, which is my favorite event. And then Thursday they have slack. Friday and Saturday are full rodeos. They start at 7:30. Then after the rodeo, you're going to walk right across and go to the dances. And you've got People's Choice playing Friday night. And you have, this is a hard one to say, Lowland Revelry on Saturday night. That's a mouthful. But it's going to be a great time, great prices to attend, very, very inexpensive. And I'm not going to tell you what the surprise is. After the rodeo on Friday night and Saturday night, you're just going to have to go up there and see as you're going over to the dance. There's something phenomenal that's going to happen up there. So if you don't believe everybody's excited when you leave today, go look at our bears outside. They're all dressed up with their bandanas and their hats on for homecoming and rodeo. So hope to see all y'all up there on the hill.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Meyer. And just to add on to the rodeo, if you haven't had the opportunity, please stop by and look at the improvements that we've done up there. I've sent the pictures to several people. They're happy with everything. We no longer look like a little jackpot rodeo arena. We look like a real rodeo arena up there, but the shading over the bleachers and shading over the livestock pens. So thank you, staff. Thank you all involved. Thank you, Sylvia, everyone for making that happen. So, all right, Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
Well, I was going to talk about Corvette Invasion and Rodeo, so you guys covered it for the most part. But I have based upon Corvette Invasion being here in our town and coming every year, several years back, it inspired me to go and look to find one for myself. And I bought a 1963 Corvette convertible, and I won a top choice award in Corvette Invasion. And then rode the car home in a very sick state, making ugly, ugly noises. And so I asked ChatGPT what was wrong with it, and ChatGPT was pretty accurate. I put it up on some blocks and looked under it, and there were 3 bolts missing. And so I put the 3 bolts back in, torqued them down to 65 pounds per square inch, and went for a drive, and it drove better than it's ever driven in the entire time I owned it. So I was quite proud of that. But you know, on the rodeo, for many years living in Bastrop, I would drive past the rodeo as it took place, but I had never been to a rodeo. And so I didn't know if I was dressed appropriately. I didn't know where to park. I didn't know, I mean, you know, it's obvious. You just kind of park and walk in, right? But I just want to encourage everyone that if you've never been to a rodeo, that you can wear whatever you want. You just go park in the grass, walk up there, buy your ticket, and check it out. And if you go Friday night, and then when you show up on Saturday, you can then tell everyone, this ain't my first rodeo, y'all. Which is a very small number of rodeos to be an expert, because I'm not an expert at it. But anyway, it was fun to say that my second time.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland. Councilmember Plunkett.
Councilmember Foster said she'd give me $50 if I didn't say anything and left something for her. So.
All right, thanks for that awesome report.
He was at the Corvette Invasion.
Councilmember Foster.
I told you I'd give you some figs. I left a bowl of figs up there from my yard and my neighbor's yard. They're washed if you guys want to have any. That's the greatest gift I could give you today, apart from this council member report I'm about to give you. Yes, the Corvette Invasion, I chose a purple one. I was like, nice paint job. He goes, it's a wrap. So that's as far as I got. Let's see. This Saturday, I joined the community bike ride as well, but I went birding first. So I had half birding and half biking. The birders were at Minerva Delgado Park, and I'll tell you some of the birds they saw. There were 12 people who attended, and there were 17 species observed, but I'll tell you some of the cool ones. There were 4 black-bellied whistling ducks, 1 yellow-billed cuckoo, 2 great egrets. There's a lot of Mississippi kites up in the north end, so there were 6 Mississippi kites, 1 red-bellied woodpecker, 1 downy woodpecker, and 2 blue jays, and then you know the others. But anyway, the Bird City Bastrop and Audubon, they do 2 bird events a month. One is called A Little Hike, and one is called A Little Sit, and they're in different parks all around Bastrop County. It's on the Bird City Bastrop page. They're always 8:30 to 10 a.m. before it gets too hot, sometimes on a Friday and sometimes on a Saturday. So if you ever want to join them, they're there, we're there. I'm usually taking pictures of the birders while they're doing the actual spotting. I'm not a great birder, but I sure like it. Saturday, also, after birding and biking and Bali X, I went to the lemonade crawl, and then also went to the almost opening of Roadhouse, which was so fun. I cannot believe how many people can fit in that restaurant. My goodness, I feel like we're a big city now. That was so impressive. And then the waitstaff did line dancing, and I was in heaven. So yes, big and line dancing. The last thing I want to tell you is those board applications that Councilmember Lowe is talking about, they are due August 17th. August 17th. August 17th. So if anyone you know want to apply for one of our boards or commission, we're not going to accept late applications this year, no matter who you are. So get your application in. And if you're currently on a board and want to renew, you have to submit an application as well. Thanks. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Foster. And so, coincidentally, you spoke about the kites. There are a lot of them here in Bastrop. I see them flying around a lot. And coincidentally, on my ride back home, Brian and I were able to see one have an encounter with some mockingbirds right there by the police station. And so we sat there for a little while and watched their interaction. Then it flew across the street, and but it was pretty cool to see that. All right, well, that's it for council. Madam City Manager.
Well, I think I will say that myself and all of staff, we feel like the yellow-bellied cuckoo right now. And that is, what's in front of you is a very large document that, believe it or not, we kept to bare bones. We've been working on the proposed FY 2027 budget. Good news and bad news included in that budget. We've been working on Mayfest Arena. And so while you guys were at Corvette Invasion, we were painting in the 105-degree heat. Thank you. I really want to give a shout out to the staff who volunteered their time. I want to give a shout out to Judy Sandrusi's husband who volunteered his time welding so that the catwalk wouldn't move when you walked up there. And the number of folks who've come out and just checked out what's there. Those are brand new covers over the bleachers on both sides. We have additional bleachers. You're going to see a lot of little signs that say work in progress, and that's because there is some work still to be done. Those aren't the bleachers that are going to be the full bleachers. Those are temporary bleachers while the other ones will get installed next week, probably, or the week after the rodeo. Fresh paint, dirt, and I'll ruin the surprise, Councilmember Meyer. We are finishing the Friday night and Saturday night rodeos with the city's first drone show. So if you haven't seen a drone show, go check it out. It is very, very, very cool. It is 14 minutes of animation that'll be showing up as folks are leaving the rodeo arena and heading over to the dance or just hanging out. Mayor, I had two other items. One of them included a recognition. I failed to invite the staff to be recognized today. We just were so busy. But over the week, I had several items for staff at BPNL and staff in the streets department. So I really want to make sure that they get recognized in this effort. So at our next council meeting, I'll be sure to make sure they're here and give them a nice little kudos. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Madam City Manager. All right. All right, on to item 4D, National Health Center Week. Do we have someone here for that? Yes? Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you reaching out and bringing this to our attention. You know, health centers are very important throughout the community to be able to have somewhere to go and get yourself checked out and get the resources that you need. And so whereas community health centers are federally qualified community-based organizations. Oh, real quick, would you like to come up and say anything about it about health centers before I read this proclamation? All right, if you can please introduce yourself to us.
Yes. I'm Rafael de la Paz. I'm the CEO for Community Health Centers of South Central Texas. We have two sites here in Bastrop, one in our Bastrop ISD campus, and the other one we're co-located with our community partners, Blue Bonnet Trust Community Services. So they're in Jackson Street is where we have our clinic. First of all, I want to commend the city council because I think this has been the most upbeat meeting I've ever been to that's a city council, so I was enjoying it. I gotta say a few words. But as a community health center or an FQHC, we have a special mission, and that's to ensure that everyone in the community has access to health care. Here in Bastrop, we've been serving Bastrop since 2014, so a little bit over 12 years now. But our organization originates back 60 years, so this is our 60-year anniversary. We were founded in Gonzales, Texas, and we had the opportunity to expand into Bastrop and have been loving it since. Great community. We provide medical, dental, and behavioral health services.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you say your name one more time? You said it as authentic as you've been raised to say it, and it just slipped right on past me. It was rolling fast, so.
Yeah, no, it's Rafael de la Paz.
Raphael.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't say it like you, but I got you.
Thank you.
All right. So whereas community health centers are federally qualified community-based organizations governed by patient majority boards and dedicated to providing high quality, affordable, and accessible primary health care to all individuals, regardless of insurance status or ability to pay. Whereas community health centers serve as vital components of the nation's healthcare system by delivering comprehensive primary care, preventive services, behavioral health, dental care, pharmacy services, and other essential health resources that improve the health and well-being of individuals and families. And whereas National Health Center Week, observed August 2nd through 8th, 2026, celebrates the theme, Building Innovative Care Where It Matters Most, recognizing the critical role community health centers play in expanding access to care, advancing health equity, and strengthening communities across the United States. And whereas community health centers continue to innovate and respond to the evolving healthcare needs of their communities by providing patient-centered care, addressing social determinants of health, and serving the trusted partners in improving public health outcomes. And whereas the City of Bastrop is served by community health centers of South Central Texas, which has provided compassionate, patient-centered care since 1996 and continues to improve access to quality health care for residents of Bastrop and surrounding communities as an example of the important work performed by community health centers throughout the nation. Now, therefore, I, Ishmael Harris, Mayor of the City of Bastrop, Texas, on behalf of the Bastrop City Council, do hereby proclaim August 2nd through 8th, 2026 as National Health Center Week in the City of Bastrop, Texas, and encourage all residents to recognize the invaluable contributions of community health centers, including community health centers of South Central Texas, in promoting healthier communities through accessible, innovative, and compassionate health care for all. In witness we're hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Bastrop to be affixed on this 28th day of July 2026. All right, so if y'all would like to come up here, I'll present you with the proclamation, and we'll take a group photo with council. All right, so just kind of fill y'all in on how we're going to move forward with the meeting. We're going to go ahead and do citizen comments. And after citizen comments, we're going to move to executive session to discuss agenda item 10C. Then we'll be back out, and then we'll go over to agenda item, individual consideration, agenda item 9A. So, do we have any additional citizen comments turned in, Michael, outside of what you've given me? Okay. All right. So we have Adrian Hashke. She does not wish to speak. She would like us to record her support for agenda item 9A. We have Tommy Claiborne. He would like to speak on agenda item, the golf course funding in Church Street. So, Tommy, are you here?
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Tommy Claiborne, 127 Winfield Thicket, 1010 Chestnut. Y'all had talked about this thing coming up, the homecoming deal? It's kind of amazing, because I've probably the only one here's been to every one of them since they started, in different capacities, either being pulled in a wagon, riding a horse, in the band, just name it, I've been in all of them, and it's always great fun. There's a lot of real positive energy that comes with that, and you can tell by the crowds, they keep getting bigger. First thing I was going to just mention was kind of caught us by surprise when we saw under your agenda about the funding for the golf course being changed from $500,000 to $50,000. Just kind of hit us out of the blue. We don't have any understanding of what happened on that. We're not opposed to what the rest of the money is being used for, but we'd like some explanation on it. My understanding that money came from a recreational grant, and I don't know if they fall under the same category or not. So I'm just here to just ask for clarification when we can get it. And the other thing is, I know you're going into executive session on this next thing, but just to remind you again about the historical parts of Bastrop that we just really cannot afford to lose because we're not making them anymore, you know. So when you go into executive session, just please keep in mind what would be the best for the citizens of Bastrop and the Bastrop community. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Claiborne. All right. See, up next, we have Leanne Calloway. She wishes to speak, and it's going to be about preserving the Allen Bell House. So if you can please introduce yourself, let us know your residency, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm Leanne Calloway, and I'm a Bastrop resident, and I'm a homeowner of a historic home in downtown Bastrop. But I am here today as a representative of the Bastrop Museum and Visitor Center. I have been a board member since 2008, and I have been the chair of the Bastrop Historic Home Tour for the 12 years now. And so I am very passionate about the issue of preserving our downtown historic district. Next year, the Bastrop Museum and Visitor Center will celebrate its 75th anniversary. Since 1961, the Historic Home Tour, originally known as the Pilgrimage of Old Homes, has welcomed visitors from across Texas to experience the history, architecture, and character that make Bastrop unique. The tour has remained one of our community's most cherished traditions. It supports local businesses, promotes tourism, and reminds us that our history is something we can still experience, not just read about. Throughout those decades, the City of Bastrop has been a valued partner in preserving our history and recognizing that protecting our history strengthens both our identity and our economy. The Allen Bell House has been part of that story from the very beginning. It was featured on the very first Historic Home Tour and remained a part of the tour for years afterward. It is more than an old house. It is a tangible connection to the people, craftsmanship, and history that shape Bastrop. We proudly call ourselves the most historic small town in Texas. That carries a responsibility. Demolishing one of our most historically significant homes would not simply remove a building. It would erase an irreplaceable piece of our community's story and set a precedent that puts the character of our entire historic district at risk. Growth is inevitable, and change is part of every thriving community. But preservation and progress do not have to be opposite. Communities across Texas have shown that historic preservation and responsible development can work together when there is a commitment to finding creative solutions. That is the precedent I hope we choose today. Not one of demolition, but one of collaboration. A precedent where property owners, developers, preservationists, city leaders, and our community work together to protect the places that define Bastrop while continuing to move our city forward. Because once a historic landmark is gone, it is gone forever. We cannot rebuild authenticity. We cannot recreate history. The question before us is not simply what happens to one house. The question is what kind of Bastrop we want to leave for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Calloway. All right. Up next, we have Robbie Sanders. She wishes to speak. Good evening, Ms. Sanders.
Hello, I'm Robbie Sanders, 1402 Main Street, and I'm not representing any organization. I'm here as a citizen who moved to Bastrop 45 years ago and feel fortunate to have lived on Main Street most of those years. But basically, I'm here to thank you for promoting Bastrop's history and protecting our historic homes. Over the years, there are many examples of things this council or previous council has done to protect our homes. For me, the most meaningful happened in 2010 when council handed over the old City Hall building to the Historical Society so the Society could expand their programs and exhibits and show off and share Bastrop's history. Another important event was in 1998 when the council then established the Historic Preservation Commission, which in 2018 became the Historic Landmark Commission. Our home at 1402 Main was the very first home to get a historic designation in Bastrop and a medallion that we put on the front porch. The Allen Bell House was built in 1854, and it's one of our earliest homes. There are about 94 homes in Bastrop that have a legal historic designation, and of these 94, only 5 are older than the Allen Bell House. You may know, but there are only 3 ways you can be legally recognized as historic. You can be listed on the National Register of Historic Places. You can receive a designation from the state of Texas, the State Historical Commission, or you can be designated one of our city's landmark homes. The Allen Bell House is one of our very few homes that has all 3 designations. The book you have in front of you is titled Historic Homes of Bastrop, Texas. The Bell House, Allen Bell House, is on page 38, and it would be a shame if 50 years from now, someone opens that book and finds that many of the homes are gone or unrecognizable. In January of this year, KLRU TV featured our historic homes on their program called Open House Show. I was honored to be a tour guide for that show. Unfortunately, I couldn't feature the Allen Bell House because of the sad state it's in. Hopefully, your actions will save this home and all other historic homes in Bastrop and will be protected from deterioration or demolition. Thank you for your past and your present efforts to protect them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. All right, do we have any more citizen comments? All right. So that is all for our citizen comments. Appreciate everyone and their input. What we will do now is move to agenda item 10C, into executive session. The Bastrop City Council reserves the right to adjourn into executive session anytime during the course of this meeting to discuss any matters listed above as authorized in Texas Government Code sections 551.071 and 551.072, 551.073, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.087, and 551.086. All right, so we will break into executive session for agenda item 10C. City Council to convene into a closed executive session pursuant to Texas Local Government Code section 551.072 to deliberate the acquisition of real property located on Church Street. It is now 7:09 and we're going into executive session.
Did you? You don't?
Yes.
Yeah, you got one. All right. That's all right.
Yeah, you can have mine.
No, I don't want that. I'll show it to you.
There's your missing. I tried to give her mine. She didn't want it back. All right, it's now 7:39, and we are back from executive session regarding agenda item 10C.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to give direction to the city manager to take initial steps to acquire property on Church Street for historic preservation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for agenda item 10C. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, let the record show that it passes unanimous for the motion for the city manager to do some more work. So thank you. All right. Now, so we are going to move past our consent agenda items and come back to that. We will go ahead and go to agenda item, individual item for consideration, agenda item 9A, consider an act on the first reading of ordinance number 2026-29, amending the proposed budget of bond 2026 allocation of $550,000 for the creation of a golf course, reducing $1,000 as grant matches for potential golf improvements and reallocated to the remaining $500,000 to the creation of an African American Cultural Center and Freedom Colony's Museum to serve as improvements to the Kerr Park located at 1304 Walnut Street. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, this item comes as the council received information regarding the golf feasibility study. So let's just remind you what has happened. We had park and quality of life improvements in bond 2025. That was a $15 million borrow. We had $550,000 allocated to a golf course, which we felt was going to cover a feasibility study, some initial design, et cetera, et cetera.
Excuse me real quick. Colin, can we get the screens up here, please? So we can see. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
That's okay.
But all right, thank you. We're ready.
Okay. So the initial grant was denied due to the feasibility study not being complete. We then went down the path of completing a feasibility study, which then determines that operationally the golf course could sustain itself, but it could not sustain itself with the capital debt that was going to be required. And there was an estimate of about $5 to $7 million to create just the course and not the outlying buildings. So council directed us to continue to seek grant opportunities, and there is $50,000 allocated to that endeavor. So that we don't continue down a path where money sits that we've borrowed and we're paying interest and other on money. This item is to move $500,000 to the creation of the African American Cultural Center to be located in Kerr Park. It is a relatively modest 5,000 square foot building, and it has been a goal of the group since at least 2024, and they are completing fundraising efforts on their own for operational expenses. I do want to just advise the council as we go through these were all of the projects that were listed in that quality of life. As we sharpen our pencil, some of these projects come under budget, some of these projects are over budget, and we move items. There's still going to be some dollars that remain for some remaining projects. So it may very well be that the golf course is whole at the end of it, if that is what the council so desires. Today, I don't have an approved grant, and so this is a move to move the $500,000 and leave the $50,000 for any grant opportunities that may arise.
All right.
And there was a question about these were grant funds and could not be repurposed. These were not grant funds. These were bond dollars.
All right. Councilmember Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor. So that last part that you said, Sylvia, is really super important because I remember many meetings where there was overwhelming support for the golf course. And I know council has supported that. I want to make sure that we are clear as a council and our community is clear that this is not the death of the golf course. This is simply shifting funds right now for something that is needed as we go through the process, as you've stated, Sylvia. But I just need to be really clear and have in me that we are going to continue down the pathway of the golf course. This by no means, I don't want the little naysayers to have a big parade tonight cheering that they killed the golf course, because I want to make sure it's very clear that this is not the death of the golf course. So is that, we are saying that, right?
We are saying that, and council can even, in its motion, direct the staff for any residual dollars to be reallocated back to the golf course from any unused park funds.
Thank you.
Councilmember Plunkett.
Well, I think you said it very well, Councilmember Meyer. So, no, I just wanted to make sure of that as well, because we were, so I'd be willing to make a motion that we pass 9A with the stipulation that any other unused money in that, from that bond be allocated toward the golf course.
Second.
All right, before we move forward, I just wanted to add a little bit too. So thank you, Councilmember Meyer, for your statement. Thank you, Councilmember Plunkett. I did receive some pushback or questioning about what we were doing, and it's good to hear that, you know, y'all are saying basically the same thing that I said to the individuals, and just to have those, you know, watch if they can't attend to see where we're at on things. Sometimes just, you know, if we have opportunities as we're moving forward and planning things out, projects out, if we have an opportunity to divert to make sure something gets completed, that's what we're going to do. All the while, we're still going to stay focused and work on what we're trying to accomplish in the end. By no means do we want to not have the golf course. We understand the importance of it to the community, to the people involved, and wanting to have it be successful. And, you know, as you can see, the council is behind and supporting this. And so just want y'all to know that we're not trying to take those things away. We're just trying to make things happen as they come along, and as the process eases up at times, and we can, you know, make successful moves in other areas and keep trucking. Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
Thank you, Mayor. Question, Madam City Manager, this 500,000 is, I learned early on council that sometimes we allocated money for things and you got a plan at the end of it instead of a building at the end of it. This is not a plan, this is a full building, is that correct?
This is a full building, yes, sir.
Okay, and do we believe that 500,000 is going to cover all in the expenses?
It's a modest building. We don't have any land acquisition. It's intended to be a metal building, so the larger spans can happen with some board and batten siding that matches the Kerr Center. So yes, this will not include furniture, fixtures, and equipment. That's a bare bone number for the building itself. I also want to remind about the golf course, if you'll allow. That $7 million in capital expenses was if the city did the golf course, and it was a city-operated golf course. We were going down the path of potentially partnering with a third party who would take on that risk for the city. But at the point that we left it, the council decided we don't want to take a bite of $7 million worth of capital when there are other projects like the rec center that folks keep screaming about on the horizon as well. So what I continue to tell people is it's not either or, it is how do we make it work cohesively? And the golf course is just one portion of the entire recreation bill.
And there's a building on this site already, is that
There
correct?
are two buildings on this site. Actually, yes, we have the Lula Kerr house, which is the little greenhouse across the street, not green, but next to the greenhouse. And then we have the Kerr Center on this same piece of property. And so the imagination is this building would go in the middle of both of those near the basketball court with sort of a courtyard area that would connect all three buildings.
And the parking for it would be where?
We purchased the yellow house across the street on Walnut. That house would be moved or be demolished, and that can serve as parking. The other area is, the area literally right across the street from the Kerr Center parking lot is also city-owned property that can serve as an overflow parking lot.
Right. Just trying to make sure we've covered our bases, you know, that we're going to, you know, get a finished building as opposed to, okay, now we need 200,000 more.
Well, the group, and the group is here, they can speak about their own fundraising efforts, and we've talked about bridging any gaps and those kinds of things. I think it's also very important to state just, I'm going to state it out loud, and you can get mad at me afterwards, but we have an item of equity. We're talking about a German casino across the street, and we've been talking about an African-American cultural center for a little while. And so if we're going to honor history, let's honor all history.
Yes, ma'am. All right. You got anything else, Mayor Pro Tem?
No, I think I'm done. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Meyer?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one more thing on that note too, Sylvia. I think that's so important. You know, today everybody is either or, right? If you don't get your way, I get my way. That's not how this works. This city and this council is to make sure the best things are done for the entire community. It's not one over the other. It's the entire community. So we have to think, we may want something, but you know what? We've been talking 3 years, the African American Museum, Councilmember Lowe and I were at the meeting last week, and they've had plans for this for quite a while. Gilbert, I know we've been talking to you for a long time about a golf course since they shut it down in the state park. I know a lot of people want the rec center. I know we want this. Guess what? If we're smart and we look at the best interests of this entire city, we can smartly do it all. So please, let's not think anymore of them or me or whatever. Let's think of it as a community, because that's what it's about.
And so I'd be happy if the council made their motion that said any residual bond amount makes this line item whole again.
Yeah, I like that as well. You know, we just keep emphasizing that we're not trying to eliminate any of the things on this list. We want to make them all happen, and we're going to do all that we can to make them happen. Councilmember Fossler?
Thank you. And the mock-up drawing is really cool, and it's also sitting on the ground, and I know that that property's in the 100-year floodplain, so that 500,000 has all the engineering and everything to get it elevated.
So the African American Cultural Museum, on their board sits an engineer who is doing all of the work pro bono.
Okay. Okay, so it will be properly elevated, maybe possibly somewhat like the one next to it. Okay, and
we've talked to our own engineer, our in-house and EIT, Elizabeth, and we've already talked about elevations and where things need to be out of the flood area and elevated, the base flood elevation elevated, and it's not as significant as it appears to be on the blue color.
okay, but there'll be, of course, ADA access considering
Yes.
and all that. Okay, awesome. My second question is, for everything that's up here for the Quality of Life Bond 2025, did all of that go through the Parks Board
All of it went through the Parks Board.
initially? Kind of prioritizing those, allocating money, stuff like that? Correct. My preference is for any changes to these is to go through the Parks Board as well. That's my preference.
What do you mean by that? Just help me
For any
understand.
allocations, for any reallocations, to go through the Parks Board as well, since
As far as getting permission from them, or just running it by them to let them know what we're doing?
always getting their feedback.
Right. So so getting their
So
feedback, but
getting
not.
their action before it coming to our agenda, as a recommending body, hearing their discussion and what they would. It's just kind of how we do things. For me, that's the process, and to do it this way feels like.
Actually, let me fill you in on the process of what's actually been happening.
Okay.
The Parks Board's been given direction that doesn't come to you.
The Parks Board, oh, you're saying that we.
Yes, the Parks Board chair, actually, and I wish she was here, she could speak up, has actually been directing staff, directing the director of parks, who I've had to say, time out, that's not the role, as it relates to the Bark Park and other things on how fast things need to get done. So there is a little bit of push and pull. I think in the council's direction, if the council says with any residual bond funds, make this item whole again, I think that covers what needs to be covered in terms of what action you would want the park board to actually take.
And if you can help me understand, maybe I'm a little lost with this, but the fact that we're, as the council is overseeing the budget through you, as we move forward with different projects and prioritize, as budget gets moved around, we have to move things around, right? And that's not something that the Parks Board would decide based on the funding.
Right, but it's
and then that goes again to what I was saying about, yes, there may be times when things are prioritized, but those priorities also can change due to whatever circumstances are happening or situations presenting themselves to be able to capitalize on this situation. And so if we're going to sit here and wait on things that we feel are the priority and not make any moves on anything else, then we lose out on everything else. And while we're focused on one area, to me, we're, 85% of the stuff that's on this list we've been able to take care of, and we're going to take care of the rest of it. And not everything happened initially in the way it was prioritized, but it's getting done.
Yeah, as an example, we didn't take the Pine Street house back to the board and reallocated it to the arena. We did not do that.
Okay, yeah, I understand the position. I just, out of respect for all of our boards and commissions being recommending bodies to us, like that's the process I prefer to see, and I understand that the ultimate decision lies with us in reprioritizing and rebudgeting, and I know I don't have the votes for this, but that's the process I prefer to see for all of our boards and all of our reprioritizing.
Well, I think we take all their recommendations into consideration, right? And then we decide after their recommendation, after our discussion, then, we move forward in how we feel we need to do it. Not disregarding their recommendation, but we're taking it into consideration. And I think, and I know that we all have relationships with our board chairs and vice chairs and even the members of the boards to where we have an understanding of what they want. But, we also, as a council, have a little bit more depth and insight on as how we're moving with other areas, so that causes us to have to move things around.
I understand. That is my preference for the process. No matter the subject matter, that is my preference for process.
All right, understood. Councilmember Lowe? No. You took your light off? Okay, Councilmember Meyer.
Thanks, last time. So I don't want to slow. I understand we actually do cover the process very well. You're right, Mayor, we do consult. However, one thing that we got to realize that's been a big factor for a long time, we slow the process down so much by continually to take it back and back and back, and ultimately it comes to us. So I have a huge problem with any residual, anything going right back to the board. No, I would like, as our city manager has said, and Councilmember Plunkett's motion, if we can also amend it. Sylvia, could you state again what that amendment would be?
Yes, for any residual amounts remaining from the bond 2025 to be put back into the golf course line item to make it whole again at a minimum of $500,000.
Councilmember Plunkett, would you be willing to amend it to say that?
That'd be fine. You okay with it since you're the second?
Yes, I'm good too.
All right, do we need to restate that all right, can we restate the amended motion, please, sir?
All right, so let's go with approve the ordinance, I believe it was an ordinance, with the stipulation that any unused monies from the Quality of Life Bond 2025 up to $500,000 be reallocated that are unused at project completion are reallocated toward the golf course.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Councilmember Fossler.
Did we have anyone sign up to speak on this?
No.
Okay, just,
Asked multiple times. All right, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, it passes unanimous. Thank you. All right, now we have that out the way. We'll move to our most exciting portion of the meeting, which we skipped. Agenda item 5, work sessions and briefings. 5A, fiscal year 2027 proposed draft budget submitted by our city manager, Sylvia Carrillo Trevino.
Oh, no, Mayor, you skipped the folks that are in this room. The community
Oh.
assets go first.
Okay, oh, hot fun, sorry. Okay.
They're not all here to hear the budget, I promise.
All right.
So y'all are gonna stay when we're done?
Y'all don't want to hear about the budget? Okay. All right. 4E, fiscal year 2027 community asset funding presentations. All right. Michaela, that'll be on you. I mean, I know you were so excited about it.
Sorry. I was just, hanging out back there.
Okay.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we have all of our hot assets here to kind of present a couple slides and just talk through their requests for the evening. You all have binders in front of you, as well as an email with digital copies of this as well. So I'm going to invite them up each individually, and we're going to start with the African American Culture Center.
Good evening, council, my friends, my fellow Bastropians and cousins. Oh.
If you can please introduce yourself. I
I'm
know we know who we
Belinda
are, but
Davis.
you know.
Belinda McDonald Davis, 138 Wagon Way in Bastrop. And I am representing Bastrop County African American Cultural Center and the Freedom Colonies Museum. Is it 3 minutes? I'm looking for a timer.
No, ma'am, you're doing your presentation, so we're not gonna put the 3-minute.
Thank you.
Well, don't try to be up here for 25, though.
No. It's been a long day for me. I know for you guys too.
I don't wanna have to gavel you.
Just want to, I'm really excited to let you all know about the impact our organization has on tourism in Bastrop. We are excited about the electronic sign-in system for those who visit our museum, for patrons. It allows our staff to analyze the tourism impact. It also allows us to evaluate market effectiveness, tourism-related attendance, and visitor trends that can be easily identified with this particular data. That event information also includes tourist information and visitor surveys that capture information regarding overnight stays and other tourism-related activities. So that tool is so fundamental to us achieving goals. And under collaborative opportunities, we are so pleased to let you all know that BCAACC and the Freedom Colonies Museum are collaborating with Bastrop, other committees and organizations in Bastrop. So we are collaborating with the Bastrop Juneteenth Committee, Discover Bastrop, the Emile High School class reunion, with Heal Alliance, with the Bastrop County Cares organization and Smithville Public Library, and also the task force, the HEART task force that has to do with history, education, and resources. We're a part of those. So we think with this collaboration with local and regional partners will increase heritage tourism, community engagement, and ultimately heads in beds. Dollars for Bastrop. Just wanted to say a few things about our programming and visitor engagement. Our organization will formalize a pipeline with Discover Bastrop and area hotels to offer educational entertainment options for conventions and conferences in Bastrop and also in Austin. For example, we're happy to just mention this. On Thursday, our organization, the Freedom Colonies Museum, is working in partnership with the Hampton to provide a Freedom Colony bus tour for a conference they're having in Bastrop this week. So we feel that now we're in a position to increase regional awareness and support annual programs, drawing in more patrons and maximizing tourism in Bastrop. Just want to finish with this. Bastrop County African American Cultural Center and the Freedom Colonies Museum is uniquely positioned to contribute to the growth of heritage tourism in Bastrop County. We're committed to that. We're also committed to continuing walking tours, our museum exhibitions, education programs, and just expanding Bastrop's historical narrative. We are dedicated to sharing Bastrop's rich and diverse history with all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Belinda. We appreciate it. And thank you to everyone a part of the African American. I was going to be funny because everyone struggles with the acronym, but really though, thank y'all for everything that y'all continue to do for the community. We really appreciate it.
Next, we invite up
be
the.
really expensive,
Oh, go ahead. We're going to invite up the Bastrop County Historical Society Museum and Visitor Center.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to speak. My name is Chelsea Stewart. I am the new executive director at Bastrop County Historical Society Museum.
You've been here
and
long
Visitor
enough
Center.
to take the
I know.
air quotes
Some
away.
people don't know me.
You're here now.
I'm here now. All right. So I have two separate presentations since we are technically two separate entities. So we're starting with the museum, and I was told 3 minutes, so I'm not going to take that long of your time. The Bastrop County Historical Society and Museum has been preserving and promoting the history of Bastrop County for 75 years as of next year in 2027. This year, we are asking for $139,677, which is a 0% increase from last year. Our museum and archives preserves over 18,000 objects, photographs, and documents related to the history of Bastrop County and its residents. Our archives and research library are open for researchers of any kind, and we regularly help locals and take requests from visitors for research. We have a wonderful team of staff and volunteers who are dedicated to the preservation of our local history. Our special exhibits room hosts rotating exhibits throughout the year and focuses on local and Texas history, educational opportunities for families, and interactive exhibits for children. We are in the process of making quite a few updates to our permanent exhibits in the museum, which will provide more interactive opportunities as you tour and provide the best possible experience for guests. It will also provide return visitors with something new to experience in our museum. We partner with local and national organizations to provide opportunities for everyone to visit the museum with discounted admission. Through these initiatives, active military and veterans are always free thanks to Bastrop area cruisers. BISD teachers and staff receive half off admission, and we offer a discount for EBT cardholders through the Museum for All program. As I mentioned, the upcoming year is our 75th anniversary, and we are in the process of planning a full year's worth of exhibits, programming, and fun to celebrate our society's founders and their contributions to preserving Bastrop history. The staff is also working together on putting together more tour options geared towards our heritage tourism economy and the growing number of people moving into and visiting the area. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Chelsea.
All
Now
right.
we're on to part two, or you?
Yeah, we're going on to part two. You get to see me for a few more minutes.
All right.
So introduce
All
yourself.
right.
No.
Yeah, you can
Yeah, look,
introduce
Chelsea
myself.
2.0. Here we go.
I'm Chelsea Stewart, and I'm the not new executive director.
Look, now you don't have to do the air quotes.
No, I don't have to do this. All right. Again, thank you for your consideration and allowing me to speak tonight on behalf of the Visitor Center portion. The Visitor Center has been fortunate enough to promote and support heritage tourism to Bastrop County since 2006. This year, we are asking for $299,709. This is a 2% increase from last year. One of the most notable changes you will see in the budget is the inclusion of a second part-time visitor center associate to help with the increased visitor traffic and amount of time spent open to the public for regular hours or participation in events. 4,922 of our visitors so far this year have come into the visitor center during special events, either through Discover Bastrop events, which we always participate in and help promote, or events such as Heroes and Hot Rods and Cowboy Poetry. On this slide, you can see by the end of the third quarter this year, we had 15,000 visitors come through the doors, which is only slightly under the amount of visitors from the total fiscal year last year, and we still have another quarter to go. We had over 3,000 visitors in fourth quarter last year, so I anticipate being close to, if not surpassing, 18,000 guests by the end of September. We have already surpassed last year's recorded number of overnight visitors with 3 quarters. Some of the things we can look forward to in the coming year. Our Toads in Town is one of our biggest activities that people enjoy while in town. Visitors love this activity. If you've not had the chance to do it, please come by and let us tell you about Toads in Town. But it is getting a facelift through the brochure and the little prizes that are handed out, and we are partnering with Discover Bastrop to do that. We have also seen an increase in demand for our new resident packages that we offer to anyone who comes in that has recently moved to the area or is even potentially thinking about moving to the area. We have handed out between 40 and 50 of those a month in the last few months. Airing of the Quilts is a relatively new addition to our event calendar. We had close to 200 visitors recorded for this event who came from all over the region. Some of the ones we heard were Victoria, San Angelo, Houston, and other areas. We will continue to provide fun events, tours, excellent customer service, and information to visitors. Any questions for me?
Councilmember Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't really have any questions, but I just want to comment on the Bastrop County Museum and Visitor Center and the Bastrop County African American Museum. I will put those museums, those two, up against any town, anywhere, because the work that they do and the community that they create, not with just the people here, the people coming in, is beyond fantastic. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you to Miss Belinda for all of y'all. Really, you are Bastrop. That's what Bastrop is. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, ditto on that. We ran into Councilmember Lowe at the Corvette Invasion. Ran into some people. Where were they from? I can't remember, but they weren't from here, but they came and they stopped over at the museum, and they really enjoyed everything that y'all had. They appreciate the Black history that they were able to find out about, and they plan on coming back to visit some more. And then just seeing the numbers that y'all have, Chelsea, like in comparison to last year, that's outstanding. It says every one of y'all are doing a great job in marketing and getting it out there and letting people know what y'all are all about, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Up next, we have the Bastrop Opera House.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm Amy Schumacher, president of the Bastrop Opera House Board of Directors, here with Lisa Holcomb, our executive director. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you for your continued partnership in the city's investment in one of the city's year-round tourism partners in the Bastrop Opera House. For 137 years, the Opera House has welcomed audiences to historic downtown Bastrop. We continue that tradition through professional theater, arts education, concerts, youth productions, summer theater camp. I hope you got to catch that performance. It was amazing. And performances coming up in our new Black Box Theater. Next year, the Opera House will present 8 major productions. Together, these productions include nearly 90 individual public performances over more than 30 weekends, giving visitors repeated reasons to choose Bastrop throughout the year. Those performances produce quantifiable results. Last year, more than 12,000 people attended Opera House performances and events, with 61% traveling from outside the city of Bastrop. Our production of Rent, for example, welcomed an audience that was nearly 90% from outside the city of Bastrop. Our ticket sales demonstrate that the Opera House attracts visitors from across Central Texas and well beyond to Bastrop. And those visitors don't just come to see a show. They dine in our restaurants, shop in our local businesses, stay in our hotels, and experience everything historic Bastrop has to offer. By giving visitors repeated reasons to choose Bastrop, the Opera House creates year-round tourism that supports our hospitality industry, strengthens our local businesses, and contributes to the vibrant downtown that all of our residents enjoy every day. Our request of $200,000 this year will support these productions, plus targeted marketing that bring visitors to Bastrop throughout the year. We recognize that hot funds are entrusted to organizations to directly promote tourism and support the hotel industry, and we take that responsibility seriously. Stable funding allows us to plan responsibly for the future while continuing to provide visitors with repeated reasons to choose Bastrop. And that's exactly the kind of year-round tourism partnership that the Hot Fund program is intended to support. Thank you for consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Meyer?
Again, no question, but I just want to commend Lisa and all of you. And I will say, when you have shows going on, because you're down, we're all in the same area of town, when the Opera House have shows, that they could fill up a parking garage right there. I'm telling you. If you have any question if a parking garage is needed, just go down that end when the show's going on, and you're going to see it is unreal. So thank y'all so much for what you're doing and continuing to just to bring more and more people in. So we appreciate you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Councilmember Meyer.
Up next, we have the Kerr Community Center.
That's you. Good evening, ma'am. Can you please introduce yourself and let us know who you're with?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Bernie Jackson, the chairperson of the Kerr Community Center, and our treasurer is here somewhere with me. Somebody come up and stand with me. Our grant writer is, and vice chair is at a convention in Las Vegas tonight. I wish she were here. But this is Marla Diane Mills. She's the treasurer, and we have been, we were elected on May 12th to the board of directors. So as this thing goes, as a board, we're like the new kids on the block. But we have come with a determination, and we have been truly fortunate with our new board members to have several people who have extensive background in marketing and development. So we know what we're asking the city for, and we know how to work with people to make that happen. But when we were elected, we determined that we wanted to become known, first of all, for giving. And so that is why you'll notice that we're having the Apple Affair, giving to the teachers, because there's a lot of activities going on for the kids. We want to do this for the teachers. And I want to thank the city staff and our new partners who have helped this new board work through this transition, because we've been doing this now for 2 months. But the Kerr Community Center Board is actively forming these partnerships with the community organizations to extend our impact and to become a part of something that we know is going to be very beneficial to bringing people in to Bastrop. We're working with, and I think we've been adopted by, the Bastrop County African American Cultural Center and Freedom Colonies Museum. And we're sharing ideas and work back and forth. We're working with the Email School Reunion Committee. We're working with the Juneteenth Committee, Discover Bastrop, and we've been very, very fortunate, as I said, to have these people help us through this transition. We're looking forward to continuing our collaboration with Discover Bastrop and the Bastrop County Historical Society, and I've talked to Lisa over at the Opera House to find out how the community center can work with the Opera House also. We know that there are going to be kids coming through the center that have acting abilities, and we want to get them over and get them in the academy or whatever so they can be a part of that. The Kerr Center serves as an important steward of local history and culture by helping preserve the stories, the traditions, and the community legacy of one of Bastrop's historically significant African American neighborhoods. So what we're looking forward to, I don't read well, I'm a pastor, I have to talk. What we're looking forward to is working with these partners that I've listed tonight, and we all have varied missions, but we know our missions are similar, and that is to preserving and promoting the future of Bastrop and keeping our history in front of this important cultural history in front of people who will be interested in coming into Bastrop and doing that. So with our varied missions from the museum, from Emil, from Juneteenth and the Kerr Center, we want to work together, and we're going to have a meeting on the 15th of July where we can come together, hear a presentation from the South End District so that we can begin to work as a strong entity to preserve this very historical neighborhood. We estimate also that about 20% of the event attendees will require overnight accommodations in Bastrop. And we've gathered that information from our long-standing role as gathering people together for family reunions, for community events and special programs. So we know what we're asking for, and we know what we've got to do to accommodate and fulfill our obligation for these funds. With this funding, the Kerr Community Center can continue to serve not only as a gathering place, but also as a bridge between history and progress. And we're asking for this funding to help us with, as we market and we work in partnership to bring this development of these ideas into fruition. We're looking forward to it. But as I say, we're the new kids on the block, and we're developing programs, and we're coming with ideas that the center and with our partnerships can bring others into Bastrop to see just how wonderful this town is and not forget the past as we're going into the future. I want to thank you for this opportunity, and Mayor Pro Tem doesn't have any questions.
Oh, man, I think he was going to go without it, but you know.
Any questions?
I mean, since
you activated him.
Since you called me out.
I beg your pardon.
He has a question now.
This he said.
He has a question now.
He has a question now.
Yes,
Okay.
I have a question now.
Okay. Let's get one thing straight out of the line here.
Yes, ma'am.
Pastor Jackson's hearing aids are not working tonight, okay? So,
Okay.
That's what I kind of figured, so.
I'll use that. Let's have the question.
So I saved the hardest question for you, and that is simply, do you think that a hot dog is a sandwich?
All right, Councilmember Lowe. Councilmember Lowe.
Y'all see what I deal with?
Yeah.
Y'all see what I deal with?
Why do I get this treatment?
Yeah, that's what we deal with on the streets with it, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to thank you for picking up the charge, for the leadership. See Doc back there, thank you for what you've done. But we've talked and met about some things, and I really appreciate it going back to kind of the way it was when I was a kid. And, you know, we're going back to the summers where, you know, we have trips to the, you know, zoo and stuff like that. And, you know, and kids had, you know, little rooms and areas. So I really appreciate that as that comes to fruition. I really would appreciate y'all doing that. And I'm looking forward to seeing that and being a part of that and getting some kids over there and getting active.
If I may, Mayor, we do have two things. We're going to bring a senior program back. As I was growing up in high school, we had a senior program where seniors were able to go. And we're going to be in partnership with Meals on Wheels on that. But we're also looking at the upstairs to bring it back into a teen lounge so that the teens in Bastrop will have a place to go. I will tell you this real quickly as I take my seat. For 2 months, we looked for an outside water hydrant, and nobody said we had any outside water. And I'm like, no, we have to have an outside water hydrant. There's got to be one somewhere. And so when you're talking about the kids, Councilmember Lowe, it was a kid that said, that water hydrant is under those stairs. So I went outside last week, and I found that water hydrant. We're in good standing with the fire marshal. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
We have, as you can see, we have a formidable president. Don't mess with her. So nothing gets past her. She's sending out emails. She's on it. So nothing gets past her. So we are so thankful for her.
Yes, we are. And she acts like she doesn't understand why she was voted to be Madam Chair. So thank you, Madam President Bernie Jackson. Appreciate it.
Up next, certainly not least, last but Lost Pines Art Center.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chloe Brevel. I'm the administrator from Lost Pines Arts Center, and I'm here to present our hot funds request for $187,605, and that's for 12 months of programming. We've had a great year so far, and for 2027, we'll continue enhancing our visitor experiences and launch new programs we're really excited about. We will continue our collaborations with Main Street businesses, our fellow assets, and more to help boost first weekends. A few great examples so far have been Mardi Gras weekend, Bird Lovers weekend, and Lost Pines Christmas. We host many events year-round, and all of them have free admission, and they're accessible to everyone. They're advertised statewide and really intended to attract out-of-town visitors as well as our locals. Art After Dark is one event that occurs every first Saturday, and this is one way we can help tie into programming for first weekends and other citywide events with art talks, new shows, and live music. Bird Lovers Weekend this past May was bigger than ever, and we appreciate all of the help from Bastrop County Audubon Society, Dark Sky Texas, Master Naturalists, and many other groups who came together and provided a lot of expertise. They provided activities for the several hundred visitors who came to the Art Center that day, as well as throughout downtown, not to mention the Friday activities on Main Street. We're thrilled to help Bastrop maintain its status as a bird city, which is yet another way that Bastrop is appealing to our out-of-town visitors. Bastrop Art Fest is our signature event, and this brings artists and craft makers from all over Texas, as well as visitors from all over Texas. Demonstrations are a big draw for this event, and we were thrilled to debut blacksmithing at the silos. And we have our numbers up there on the screen of our events. We also have had a great year of workshops. We've expanded, of course, our glass blowing, and our registrations are up 20% from last year because we've been able to expand our classes and our reach with more advertising. And then the next slide, or one event we're adding to next year's lineup is a Spring Makers Fest, and that will feature more hands-on activities than Bastrop Art Fest does. And this, we're still in process of building that event, but this is really going to help us build momentum for our new Silo Arts campus that we're very excited about. It's in process as we speak. We have 4 historic silos on the back lawn of the Art Center. The first one was completed in 2018 for glassblowing, and it's been in full swing ever since. The remaining 3 will be for blacksmithing, another for fired arts, which includes ceramics and sculpture. And the last one will be a mixed-use space for classrooms, meeting spaces, business meetings, all kinds of uses. Whatever we can dream up, we'll do in that space. We have already begun fundraising and started moving on the first steps of those renovations, and look forward to great opportunities for not only more classes, but also more private corporate events we can bring in, more team building especially. We've noticed creative team building is on the rise for a lot of businesses, and we're thrilled to see that. We've already hosted some this past year, and we're going to be growing that program as well. For example, a group came from the Hyatt, and they did glassblowing as their team building activity. We had another group from Texas A&M who came in for a team building activity as well, and they actually chose Bastrop out of other cities because of our activity that we were offering and our services, and also just there were so many great things to do here. So they all stayed in hotels, they ate at the restaurants, and they really helped out boosting the economy here, as with all of these events. And with the Silo Arts Campus, even without full completion, which we expect to be completed next year, we already can start pursuing these programs, as we already have with blacksmithing. We already have, we did the demonstration at last Art Fest, but we're also going to be adding public and private sessions in the fall. And the same with some of our glass arts in the Fired Arts studio. We do those currently in the classroom that we have in the main building, but with the completed renovations, this will give us bigger spaces for bigger groups, more frequent events and classes, and more ways that we can bring in visitors to Bastrop. And these numbers here are showing we also love to do group tours. Those are free admission as well. We've had groups from San Antonio, Round Rock, Brenham, and Houston, and more. And so we're excited about new things to come and enhancing what we already do, and so that we are looking forward to another great year. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Councilmember Meyer.
Thanks. No question, Chloe. I just want to thank you also for all the work that you do and what you bring to our community, and working with other organizations. And I'm hearing a whole theme that I love so much tonight, because it's working together, and that's what our community is. It's not you and me, it's we, right? Mm-hmm. So thank you for everything you do to support that and what you bring to this town. And just, I want to say to everyone, without our community assets, we aren't Bastrop. Mm-hmm. We're just another little town somewhere on the side of the road somewhere that's growing too fast and all this. Mm-hmm. But the heart of this town are what's in this room tonight. So thank you all so much for the heartbeat, the strong heartbeat you give to our city.
Thank you.
Yes, you keep beating me to the thank yous, but that's okay. I'm just piggyback on them anyway. No, I appreciate it. It just shows how thankful we are as a council. Just sitting here, listening to everyone up here, just really shows the importance of who we are as Bastrop. We are a historical town. It is very important to us that we preserve that historical feel, that aspect. It's our image. And so to see so many people dedicated to want to continue that on, it warms my heart as not only the mayor, but as a citizen here in Bastrop, to know that there are people here who want to see our legacy continue moving forward. It's also a great thing to see that all of y'all are able to work with each other to some capacity to keep this thing alive, and that's what it takes. It's not, even though you might be working in your own individual area, we're all the same. We are Bastrop. We are a community that looks out for each other, that wants others to be recognized, and I appreciate that. As we continue to grow, and us cities continue to grow, that history all too often gets forgotten. And I refuse to be a part of a city that allows that to happen, and I appreciate that we have people who have that same sentiment. So thank you all for coming to us, doing what you do to keep the preservation alive, the history alive. If it wasn't for y'all, who would it be? So thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, we got Mayor Pro Tem Clerkley.
And this isn't a question for you at all. It's a comment to all of the community assets. The hot funds to the city of Bastrop are not guaranteed permanently. And as such, it would be advisable and wise for each of you to look for additional funding opportunities to diversify away from needing an extensive amount of support from the city of Bastrop. It's not this year, maybe it's not next year, but it's possible that things could occur that would cause us to no longer be able to richly bless the community in the way that we have. And so just plan for that, just in case.
All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not pertaining to this, but I'll just, since you're here. Because I was thinking about it, you know, when you brought this up here, I was like, are these the numbers for us? So I'm just curious about, you know, how we've been doing visitation-wise and event-wise with numbers, if you ever get that opportunity.
Well,
or if you have anything fresh in your head.
I think you guys are going to hear from Judy here shortly on numbers, and I think those numbers that we're seeing from the hot pool is going to speak volumes to where we're sitting currently compared to last year's actuals, and it's a very positive number. So I think that in general speaks to the increase in tourism that we've seen in general for the community. Q1 historically is normally the worst quarter for us, but that number was I think about $300,000 more than last Q1. So that's doing really well. It's hot out there, but Christmas in July, this is the second year we've done it, and we've seen 500 people come through downtown, and probably easily another 100 people that showed up the day of that wanted cups. So we are seeing some momentum downtown specifically. So I think in general, overall, tourism's up.
That's good to hear, right? Like yeah, it's good for the downtown business owners and just people in general,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I know we're all excited for the rodeo, but those shade structures are going to do wonders, I think, for us too. So excited for that.
Yeah, I went and sat in a few spots yesterday just to test around the start of the rodeo time, and I think we're going to be all right. All right. Councilmember Fosler.
While you're standing up here, I wanted to thank you and your crew for producing the lemonade crawl. It was really super fun. I didn't get home till midnight. What time did it end?
7.
That's what I'm saying. It was really fun. There were lots of people out, and thank you. Y'all were working really hard. I didn't say that in my council member report, and I wanted to be very specific about thanking y'all.
Thank you. Yeah. That initiative was really, July and August are probably the worst 2 months, in my opinion, downtown. That heat kills us. So it was just a really last minute kind of initiative to push retail and get people downtown that maybe wouldn't be downtown otherwise. And I think it was a huge hit. So thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. We appreciate it. All right. Okay, now to the fun part. Y'all don't want to stick around for the budget?
Where you going?
I was trying to get y'all in here so y'all would have an understanding of the budget before we went to the allocations
Come
of the
on.
funds. But hey. John, is this your favorite portion of the meeting? All right. Okay, on to agenda item 5A. Fiscal year 2027 proposed draft budget.
Right up here.
I haven't seen an exodus that quick. I feel bad.
Sorry, Judy.
Huh? Doc, you sticking around? There you go. Stick around. Might learn something. A trooper. All right.
All right, Mayor and Council, this is the FY 2027 proposed operating budget. I will tell you that our values hot off the presses on Friday, late afternoon, and our tax rates hot off the presses Monday, yesterday. So staff and I did yeoman's work throughout Monday, Tuesday to get this document to you. It is a living, breathing document. I know that we're going to go into retreat and we're going to talk about a lot of the items in this budget. Today I'm going to focus on the general fund. All of the other funds are in fine position with the exception of the general fund. And that's the fund that is the workhorse of all of the funds and is fed through property taxes and sales taxes, permits and penalties. So we'll go over the tax rate and results from the assessor collector. We'll go over all fund status. We'll go over the general fund implications to the no new revenue rate. We'll go over some alternatives, some recommendation, and then future discussion. And just to preface, the slide's only 16 slides long, so I kept it short and sweet. The book is online also. It does only focus on, it focuses on all of the budget, but our presentation today is general fund related. So first, the results from the assessor collector. In FY 26, in the current budget year, we had an M&O rate of 0.3316 and a debt rate of 0.1722, bringing our total rate to 0.5040, which was less than the no new revenue rate. The 2027 rates per the assessor dropped the M&O rate to 0.2947, increased the debt rate to 0.2171, for a total no new revenue rate of 0.5118. The voter approved rate is a significantly higher rate at 0.3788 for M&O, 0.2171 for interest and sinking, for a total rate of 0.5959. The de minimis rate, DMR, which is the rate that would generate $500,000 of income for cities under 30,000, is 0.5911, and that's made up of 0.3740 in the M&O and 0.2171 in the interest and sinking. You'll notice that our tax value comparison in FY 26, we were at 1.652 billion, and in 2027, 1.654. So the increase, although those seem like very large numbers, the increase was nominal, netting approximately $37,000. This does include a debt payoff. We have excess funds in the interest and sinking fund, and we had about $554,000 of debt that we were able to pay off early without penalty. So we took that out, which when we started the debt rate was closer to 23 cents. All of the funds are in a positive status. We have $73 million in revenue and $68 million in expenses with an approximate $5 million surplus. I say surplus, but you know that some of those funds are restricted funds and they can only be designated for certain things. Here's the required statement on where the no new revenue rate is, the no new revenue M&O, how much money is increased from the prior year's budget, and what is actually a new property value on the roll. The municipal debt rate that is tax supported is 37.6 million, revenue supported 140.4 million, for a total of 178.1 million. This is important because that revenue rate had an adjustment by Standard & Poor's to an A-. We are very close to our water wastewater fund not being able to support itself. And that's a reliance on impact fees, that's a reliance on selling water, that's a reliance on being able to take on wastewater customers, diversifying the product, which is why resale of that effluent is super important. So what is the impact to the residents? Last year, the average home value was $294,810. At the rate of 5040, we collected $1,485.84 per home. The no new revenue rate this year at 0.5118, and the average home at $299,575, a modest increase, yields a net effect to the resident of $47.38. The voter approved rate is a difference of $299.33 to the residents, and the de minimis rate is $284.95 to the residents. There is an increase to the resident among all of the tax rates. That's a function of the increase in valuation, not a function of the rate itself. So, general fund implications at the no new revenue rate. Included in the budget is a massive reduction than what police originally asked for in the budget. There is one officer, one civilian, which is in the evidence room, I believe, 2 cadets. There is 1 mechanic and 1 custodian in fleet and facilities. That has a staff cost of $478,000. There is an 8% health insurance increase, down from the 36% that was originally prescribed. I will tell you that that health insurance premium is, it's not going to be a great deal for the employees. We are trying to figure out a better way to serve. It has a very high deductible, and it has other increases embedded in it that even got us to the 8%. In the general fund, that equals $290,000, almost $291,000. This budget does not include a COLA for staff. So we have revenues of 18849 and expenses of 19679 for a deficit of $830.468 at the no new revenue rate. And before everybody leaves with their hair screaming, there are some alternatives in the document on how we address that shortfall. So there are 5 alternatives that I provided to you. The first 3 include the no new revenue rates. In our existing budget, we have some excess funds, and I'll go through some of that. We can talk about staff cuts, we can talk about transfers in, and I'll go through each of those in detail. The first one is the current budget sweep. Right now, we estimated about $1 million under in sales and property tax, right there. And then we have expenses down of about $1.3 million. We have 9 vacancies in the general fund in various departments. And so those 2 combined give you a very healthy cushion to be able to draw down from. So option number 1 is adopt the no new revenue rates and sweep excess revenue and expenses in this year to cover the $830,000 shortfall. Alternative number 2 is remove the police department staffing, which it is staggered throughout the year, and it is $297,780. Remove the mechanic and remove the custodian. That is a total savings of $478,000. That still leaves a net deficit of $352,000, which can also be covered with that excess revenue over expenses from the prior slide. And that would still leave approximately $900,000 falling to fund balance. Alternative 3 is utilize $500,000 of that excess revenue. The general fund also handles $1.4 million of a debt payment for the streets department. We had some HA5 and some initial debt borrow when we first began the street maintenance program, and that is $1.4 million that the general fund is covering. As the street department becomes more robust and sales tax come in, that is a debt payment for existing streets that can be covered. Now, we could utilize $500,000 of the excess revenue, and we could have the street department carry approximately a third of its own debt at $330,000. And it resolves the deficit to zero, but it still does not address the staff COLA. Alternative number 4 is the de minimis rate adoption and a budget sweep. The de minimis rate would generate $481,000, which would leave a deficit, would cover the deficit, and it would also allow a 2% COLA to the staff. I know that's not a popular item, but we'll have a discussion as to why the no new revenue rate is not always the way to go. And I know Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland is shooting daggers at me right now. There is an alternative rate that is above the no new revenue rate, and in your book at the appendix you will find the tax worksheet that the assessor collector worked out. We have about 0.023 cents in unused increment, and that is we've been adopting below the rate, and so we've left about $498,000, I believe, or so on the table. So the alternative rate is 3%. That 0.2947 is the no new revenue rate, M&O rate. Increase that. 3.5% triggers an election. So increase that 3% plus the unused increment rate plus the debt rate equals an alternative tax rate of 0.5436, which is higher than the no new revenue rate, but less than the voter approved rate and less than the de minimis rate. This would would reduce the deficit to $303,000. Instead of a COLA, we would do a one-time adjustment, $750 per employee, and and then we would do a budget sweep, and that would leave approximately $872,000 to fund balance. So, the adoption of the no new revenue rate harms the city in the long term, and that's because, as I show you in the prior slide, the no new revenue rate barely covers the increase in insurance. And if we continue to do that every single year, what we're doing is we continue the transfers from the other funds, the utility funds, whether it's BP&L, whether it's development services, whether it's water, wastewater. And then we end up passing those increases to the ratepayers as opposed to the property owner, which the ratepayers are more often than not, the burden is on the rental folks. There is a burden on the property owner. I'm not saying there is not, but generally speaking, when it is passed to the ratepayer, it harms a greater number of folks. The inflation and growth far outpace the no new revenue rate. And the thing about the growth is, while we're seeing it, it is not realized immediately. It takes us about 2 cycles to begin to see that ad valorem increase. And then when we enter into 380 agreements that forego that ad valorem or forego that sales tax, we're going to pay the piper somewhere along. There's an expectation for greater services. The staff is completely stretched thin, and so I'm, again, disappointed that we would even be contemplating not offering a cost of living increase. So my recommendation is adopting the alternative tax rate. I do understand it has an implication to the residents. I understand that completely. Any questions?
Councilmember Meyer.
Thank you. Sylvia, last year, so we have STEP also, right, for the employees?
Correct.
And last year, we did COLA, right?
No.
We didn't do COLA last year?
We did not do
No,
COLA.
we talked about it.
We did
Okay.
a one-time adjustment, I believe it was $500.
We talked,
That's
we
right.
talked
That's
about it,
what
but
was. Yeah,
things didn't
the
work out
$500.
to be
I
able
knew
to
it
do
was-
that.
Yeah, I knew it was something I could, okay, thank you.
And the step is 2.5%, but it's not a guaranteed step. They have to meet certain criteria, their performance, et cetera.
And, you know, 2.5%, as great as an effort that is to help with staff, right? You know, we're still behind, you know, inflation, right? Just, you know, whatever's going on. But, you know, every little bit helps. But, you know, if inflation's up 3% and we're getting 2.5%, you know, you're still trying to play catch up. But it's better than nothing, so.
I would say that we used to be able to say, well, we offer great benefits, we offer this, we offer that. Our medical benefits, I mean, we're in a crisis. The county went to, I was talking to Ellen this morning, the county went to self-insured a year ago to save some money. This year, they're up 19% in their cost. And, you know, we were facing a 36%. We thought we had turned the corner in the catastrophic claims that we're in, but we're not. We had a couple more come in, and so that number's not getting any better despite all of the healthy initiatives that we have going on to help people earn, you know, points for walk-in, et cetera. So.
Yeah, and the staff is the backbone and the heartbeat of this city, right? If it wasn't for staff, we wouldn't have anything going on, right? We rely on them. And as somebody that's worked 22 years for a municipality, you know, not being able to get that cost of living increase, as the world goes on, it becomes a struggle. Not a lot of times we're able to make, you know, money to necessarily be rich, but we're able to live comfortably. But as time goes and things cost more, we need those adjustments, and staff needs those adjustments. I know a lot of people, they take on jobs because of the pay, but man, it's those benefits that come with it. And so it's hard to live without good benefits. You know, anything can happen. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And so we want to, I'm a firm believer in taking care of the staff and employees.
So alternative number one, this alternate tax rate has a net impact to the residents of $142.77. It also, that turns out to about $11.90 a month. It still doesn't resolve the entire deficit. It still is going to require a sweep. We could very well adopt the no new revenue rate with just the sweep today and be done. But you know, we continue. Again, we left 400, and if you look at your book in the back appendix, you can go to what is page in the very back of the book. If you go to page 400 if you go to page 503, at the very back of the book, there's an unused increment of 0.0230. We have left about $428,211 last year. And so those are, it's great, and I understand the concern. I understand everything's expensive. I understand our residents are pressured. I understand all of that. But at the same time, there is an expectation for service, and it's very hard to provide the service at the no new revenue rate level.
Right. Yeah, I think, you know, on an occasion, you know, having a no new revenue is okay, but I personally feel if you continue to do that, that's how you take your city out, right? Because eventually things will fall on the citizens when the initial plan was to keep it from them. You know, eventually, you know, things cost more. We have to find the funds somewhere. We have to go to the people. That's not what we want.
Well, it forces you in an inverted relationship with debt. because debt doesn't have a ceiling here yet. I'm sure the legislature in the next session or the coming session after that will figure that out. But, so it forces you to do things like, okay, I'm gonna go borrow for those vehicles because I didn't plan for them in vehicle equipment repair and replacement. I'm going to go borrow for those one-time expenses because I didn't save any money or have a healthy reserve, so.
And then you just find it just becomes more and more ways of not being able to pay for those things. And then even just the services of, you know, cutting back on those. Eventually, as population grows, population doesn't stop because we stop, right? And if we don't do the right things to keep up with that or be proactive and prepare, then we will find ourselves in the position of restructuring our identity and how we move forward.
I will also say we did increase the sales tax. We got another month of sales tax, and it looked like we were going to be up about 10%, and I think we increased 7 or 8% in the sales tax line item.
All right, council, we have any other discussion?
You just got the book, so I don't expect a lot, but I do expect us to have this conversation at
Next week.
retreat. Yes,
Yes.
next week. And if you have any questions at all, the book is online also, and it can easily go to the link in the PDF itself. That's probably going to be easier for you to have a conversation. And then these are very detailed. The book is very heavy because we expanded every single line item. I wanted you to be able to see super detailed. The same thing the residents can see when they post it out there. We're going to publish this as a public budget, as a proposed public budget. It'll be on our transparency portal. Folks can drill down as far as they want to within the budget.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Fossler.
Thank you. For the healthcare, it's unbelievable that you're getting it in the range of 8%, but it could go like, that's not a final number, right? Like
That's the final number. We did go out for RFP. We're
Okay.
changing provider. It's actually, so they've offered us a couple of different ones. One of them is called the Surest. That one's a little bit, I don't want to say wonky, but wonky is the only word that's come into mind. More and more municipalities and private companies are going toward it. You essentially have to shop for a provider that charges the least amount, that has a contract with the insurance company. And so they gave you a mobile app. And so, for example, my general care provider today, I pay $25 copay in my wellness copay. Under the Surest plan, I believe I'm paying $45. And so the health insurance plan, if we went to the Surest plan, would have a savings. And so we thought we would offset that savings with perhaps a flexible spending account for the employees so that, you know, they can still go to the doctor. They don't have to go without because their copay went up.
Mm-hmm. I just know that insurance landscape is changing across the board, so thanks for looking into it.
Yep, we have changed providers now twice since I've been here trying to get the best rate. Our utilization rate is very high. We have a couple of very sick employees in the city family, and it isn't one of those things where you can say, oh, sorry, no soup for you, we're going to kick you out.
No way.
Because it is a pool, it's an entire risk pool.
Okay, thank you.
All right, council. All right, sounds like we're done hearing this portion, and we'll be ready for
Yes, it'll be
next
ready
week.
for next week.
All right. Agenda item, work session briefing 5B, provide an update to City Council regarding ongoing resident complaints at the settlement apartments.
Yes. So Colin, can you bring that one back up? Many of you received an email from Ms. Bonnie Coffey regarding the settlement, and it's quite a lengthy email about what was going on. And so Mayor Pro Tem requested a briefing to the council with a timeline. And I will tell you, staff has been very, very engaged with emails and visitation. And I think Mayor and Doc Cowie, you guys actually went out there on a Saturday. So, Colin, what slide is this? Here I am. Okay. So, Doc and his team did an initial site visit March 27th. They looked at roof and some damages on the building. They had a discussion with Michael Spencer, the property manager at that time. And probably part of the biggest problem is they continue to have a massive turnover of staff. So every time we get comfortable talking to one, it changes and they're on to another. We had another visit on June the 25th. We discussed the conditions of the pool, being pretty much a cesspool, it appeared. So we again meet on July 11th. We talk about miscellaneous substandard conditions. We again meet July 21st. And then our code enforcement officer has made continued visits to review property conditions. So there are still items that need to be addressed. There were some tenants who got past due notices who had to pay their rent, and so they were very nervous about being evicted. There's some interior drywall conditions, possibly mold. Work orders are being closed out without the issue being addressed. The tenants are being reprimanded. So, for example, there was a tenant who had an air condition issue, and she called her own air conditioning company to have one of her family members help pay for that repair. That was a giant no-no by the settlement. There hasn't been an on-site handyman to address issues quickly. So there was a lot of junk and debris at some point, and I think most of you got that email. They hadn't paid their TDS bill, so we sent TDS out to pick up the trash, and we will bill it. So we did pick up the trash in June. The AC units have been replaced as of May of 2026 for those folks, and the grass was mowed in July. Now, we have a multitude of MyGov cases that are open. That's the list over on the right, and we continue to work with the property owner. The code enforcement cases get very tricky, and Charlie can chime in, because you give a notice, but you've got to give the property owner an opportunity to cure. And so they begin the process of curing, and then, we go down this path. And so for the residents, it feels like we're not doing anything because there are 15 open cases, but each case stands on its own, and we're, trying to address it as it resolves. We got an email today. Many of you would have received that email that said there's a great number of vacancies because folks are leaving, because things are unsteady. And so Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland asked about this apartment complex had a letter of support for tax credits from this city, and can that be withdrawn? That letter was more than 10 years ago, and so I don't have a response to that yet, but we are looking down that path, and more it appears like the complex is going to be sold to a different owner. So the other problem that we face is not that I want people to live in these conditions, but if we get really strict on the conditions, there's not a lot of places for those residents to go. So it's a fine line that we're trying to balance, and keeping everybody in a safe place, but still handling those issues, especially as it relates to the mold and things. The pool, that's one of those, they can drain it. Yes, when you moved in, you had a pool, but if the pool goes sideways and the owner's got to drain it, having a pool is not a requirement to have a safe and habitable home. So we have to cross those bridges every single time we address an issue out there. Doc, is there anything you want to add?
Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
So the resolution I was referring to was from 2023, and it was asking for our support for a $250 reduction in fees in order to support their application to the TDHCA, and so the question I had was, there might be a complaint process to the TDHCA that I would want us to look into.
Mayor Pro Tem, that's not I feel like that's being conflated with the apartments over at Lover's Lane.
No, this is
Is
a
this
housing
specific
tax
to
credit
the-
for rehab to settlement estates.
Okay.
Yeah, 2023-16.
Okay. Well, apologies, the support letter I found was 10 years old. Okay.
All right, council, do we have any other discussion or comments? All right. Thank you, Madam City Manager. And thank you, Doc, for all of your efforts. Thank you, Robert, as well. I know you're not here. But, you know, we really appreciate everything that y'all are doing to make this as easy as a resolving situation for the residents as possible. You know, with me going over there with you, I know all too well like what they're going through. So hopefully we can get this resolved and everyone can have a good, peaceful living arrangement. All right. On to item 6A, monthly financial report, June 2026, by Ms. Judy Sandrusi.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Judy Sandrusi, Finance Director. And so tonight we're talking about our June financials. And so our general fund year-to-date revenues are at $15.7 million, 7% above forecast. And the two main contributors to the general fund revenue are sales tax and property tax. And so our sales tax was at $7 million, 5% above our forecast, and property tax came in at $6 million, 9% above our forecasts. And our total general fund expenses for June year-to-date was $12.8 million. As Sylvia mentioned, we have 11 vacancies, but 9 of those are in the general fund. So a majority of that $1.4 million is due to salaries and so forth. Our enterprise fund came in at $14.2 million, a little bit under our forecast by 2%. And enterprise fund expenses came in at 13.8, 4% below our forecasts. And then our special revenue fund was $13.8 million, 8% below our forecasts, with the expenses coming in at 1% below our forecasts. And hot tax came in at $3 million, 14% below our forecast, with the expenses coming in at $3.2 million, 3% below the forecasts. And I have a slide on that, but I have a couple of slides too to show you. And so we have our sales tax revenue. This is in total. That's coming from the comptroller. And so year to date, it's 10.5 million. And so that last line, I did in October through June for the prior year so that you can kind of see a comparison for that period. And so you're looking at 10.4 like versus fiscal year 2025, which was 9.6 versus 24, which was 9.3. So we're moving forward in our trajectory of our sales tax. And then we have our property tax revenues. And this is running above forecast as well. And the actuals are running higher than prior years as well at the $6 million as of June. And then I have the hot slide, which was a hot topic. So as you can tell from the 23 actuals and 24 actuals and 25 actuals, quarter four is always the highest for hot. And if you look at what our actuals versus budget, we're bouncing back for the first 3 quarters, and we still have the fourth quarter to come in. So we're hoping we can make up that variance. As mentioned before, the budget was straight-lined, so that's why you see that variance as well. So it didn't take into consideration the seasonal changes for HOT, the way it occurs normally. And is that all I have? I think that's all I have. Oh, I have the capital. Capital expenditures, actuals are 14.8 million, and basically the same projects that we've talked about before. So yeah, we still have a lot to spend in that category. So, any questions?
Council? All right, no, ma'am. Thank you, Judy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. On to consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council, do we have any items? Councilmember Plunkett.
8G. Golf.
All right, 8G, do we have anything else? No? All right. Agenda item 8G, consider an act on a resolution number R-2026-112, ordering a November 3rd, 2026 local option election for the legal sale of alcoholic beverages within the territory annexed into the City of Bastrop that retained its dry status following the city's 2005 local option, and providing for the election to be held as a joint election with Bastrop County. Michael.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So as you know, last council meeting I brought forth a little informational presentation to speak on the upcoming local option election. And our goal in doing this is to make sure we hit that target, because this is a great opportunity for us to do this without having to go through a lot more of a process. So in that time, with the help of Councilmember Plunkett, we've been able to narrow down the language and be uniform with the other cities and the county, our precincts, so that we're all on the same page. So we wanted to get in front of citizens, mayor and council, for transparency purposes, because the resolution that was in the packet, the language was changed again so that we would be more in compliance with the other cities and the county. So the only real change to it is the proposition language was changed to the legal sale of all alcoholic beverages, including mixed beverages. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Councilmember Plunkett.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, the reason we did that is because in the notice that was in the packet, that's what it said. But in the proposition at the beginning of the explanation, reiterated what we already had. So it was just to straighten out that language and to make sure nobody misunderstood that, you know, the idea here is to allow all mixed beverages, all alcohol that are legal through TABC, so that if we ever do change our mind, it doesn't change any ordinances that are on the books. So, for example, Michael pointed out to me today that, you know, there is an ordinance on the books that says you do need to be a restaurant in order to serve mixed beverages. That wouldn't change that ordinance. But what it does, and this is the important part, is it keeps us from having to go through the TABC in order to change that if we ever did want to change that. So, and it's super expensive, super time consuming, and very uncertain to go through this through TABC. So this gives us a one-time chance to just allow everything, and then if we want to pull it back from there, we're able to do that through ordinance. The only thing is, we just have to be the ones that enforce it, if that's the case.
Yeah, give us a broader umbrella to start from, and then we can customize it to whatever fits Mayor and Council's pleasure.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
Councilperson Plunkett, this might be a question for you. What is food and beverage certificate holders? What class of people? And do they have to serve food? Because it says food and beverage?
Correct.
Okay.
What it does, it puts you in a category. There's a permit that the TABC issues called, well, it used to be called an RM, as opposed to an MB as a mixed beverage permit. So that's just, you can be a bar, don't have to serve food, anything. An RM permit used to be called that. Now it's a MB permit with a food and beverage designation. So I guess I should be accurate about that. So the current rule is that if you have a mixed beverage permit with a restaurant designation, then you can't, you must sell at least 40% of your revenues have to come from non-alcoholic beverages or food or t-shirts or anything.
So, but I guess the point is Proposition A says, for or against the legal sale of mixed beverages by food and beverage certificate holders only.
Correct. And if we did that, then TABC would read that as that's the only permit I will issue in Bastrop. And the only way for us to change that, if we ever wanted to change our mind, the only way to do that would be to go through the process of gathering signatures, which is, I believe, 30% of all registered voters.
Okay. So then I think I'm back to, I was asking questions about the language.
Right.
And that language has been removed.
Right.
food
The
and
new
beverage
language is
certificate
on your
holders.
desk.
Oh, okay, that's the thing I'm trying to figure out.
Yes.
Right. That was what I caught
Okay, got it.
and saw that needed to be changed.
Exactly. So what's in front of you is what's actually
Got
going
it.
to be.
Okay, so this is our resolution.
Yeah, and the reason
Yes,
I
sir.
pulled it is because I wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
Thank you. Adina sent me some updated, sent you as well, the updated cost estimates, and they are quite a bit lower than what was presented to us last time. The City of Bastrop's portion of that election would be $16,550 total. The county is paying $48,000, and Bastrop Central Appraisal District is $53,000, and so on. But basically, it has to do with how many precincts you have. So the cost of the election scales with the precincts. County has the most number of precincts, so they would pay the most, and that's very reasonable. So
Yes, sir. Yeah, I hadn't seen those numbers. Thank you.
All right, council. We have anything else?
So I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, let the record show that AG passes unanimous. Council, do we have any more consent agenda items that we would like to be pulled? All right, if that is a no, then I'll read through these ordinances, and then we'll move forward with the motion. 8A, consider an act to approve the second reading of ordinance number 2026-21, amending the operating and capital budget for the fiscal year 2026 in accordance with the existing statutory requirements, appropriating the various amounts herein attached as Exhibit A, repealing all prior ordinances and actions in conflict herewith, and establishing an effective date. 8B, consider an act on the second reading of ordinance number 2026-20 to amend Chapter 10 of the Code of Ordinances, subdivisions as shown in Exhibits A through C. 8C, consider an act on the second reading of ordinance number 2026-23 to amend Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances, Bastrop Development Code, as shown in Exhibits A through H. 8D, consider an act to approve the second reading of ordinance number 2026-25 of the City Council of the City of Bastrop, Texas, approving fiscal year 2027 annual service plan update, including provisions related to assessments for the Val Verde Public Improvement District, approving a fiscal year 2026-2027 assessment roll for the district. 8E, consider an act on the second reading of ordinance number 2026-26 to amend Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances with the addition of Section 14.09.016 entitled Liability for Adversely Affecting Historic Structure or Property and related to historic structures by adopting enforcement provisions consistent with the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 315, Section 006. And 8F, consider an act on the first reading of the ordinance number 2026-30, amending Chapter 14, Section 9.002, Historic Landmark Commission by amending the appointment from Planning and Zoning Commission to be a non-voting ex officio member, and that members should be residents of the city.
Motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda. That's items 8A through 8F and 8H through 8M.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Council, we don't have any more questions, any more discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Let the record show that each one of the remainder consent agenda items passed unanimous. Now we will move back to our executive session. We will not be moving on agenda item 10A, but we will have a discussion over executive session agenda item 10B. City Council shall convene into a closed executive session pursuant to Texas Local Government Code section 551.087 to deliberate regarding economic development with Pearl River, the developer of Sendero. It is now 9:25 and we're moving into executive session. All right, it's now 9:42. We are back from executive session. We have recommended to city manager staff to move forward with the standing offer that we have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you, Bastrop. I know it was a little lengthy tonight, but we appreciate you sticking with us. We love y'all. We'll see y'all in a couple weeks. And be sure to get out there and support the Bastrop Homecoming and Rodeo this weekend. Yeah, boy.